The Magic are ready to start their season. Up first for them, AI and the Philadelphia 76ers. That classic 2K look that most of us are familiar with. Orlando, hey, there you go. My first favorite player of all time, at least in basketball. Grant Hill. Andrew Garrity. Hunter there shooting. There's a lot going on. See the starting lineup. Keith Van Horn, Derek Coleman, Daryl Armstrong, Eric Snow. Good defensive lineup. At least a good chunk of those players for the Sixers. Van Horn, not so much, but team-wise, good defensively. Look at Iverson. Ready to go to work, and McGrady with the block. I don't know what Garrity was doing there. Just swatted out of bounds, but nice play by T-Mac there. T-Mac had a rough start to this game. Started out 0 for 5. See one of his misses right there. Aaron McKee getting by Grant Hill. So Philly off to a good start offensively. 4-0. Iverson, the speed. Just right in front of Pat pulls up. Speaking of Pat, again, look at that. Look at that move. Just nasty. AI, 12 points in the first quarter. Dude was doing work. Aaron McKee using the screen. Coleman flips it in. Philly up 14 early. But the magic wouldn't go away so quickly. Horace Grant knocks the ball out. Grant Hill. So Grant and Grant doing work for the Magic. Speaking of Grant Hill again hits a 3. The first 3-pointer of the season. Cuts into the lead. It looked rough for a good point, especially around the halfway mark. But 7-point game at the end of one. It could be worse. Like I said, Iverson with 12 points in the first quarter. He definitely was getting off, doing whatever he needed to do. And McGrady started out 0 for 5. So you put those two together, being down 7, not the worst. But the bench clearly would be an issue that we'd have to look at. See Iverson from everywhere, in the paint, outside the paint. Keith Van Horn going to the basket, pulling up. Nice fancy move by AI there. So, second quarter would have to be better, and it'd have to be with the bench mob. Not a good start, at least for the Magic. You see McGrady coming down the court. He's going to split time with the second unit. Nice little dunk there. Cuts into the lead a little bit. Cuts it to 5. Speaking of cutting, to 6, sorry. Taking advantage of Iverson in the post, so McGrady got a little going in the second quarter. Love to see that. Aaron McKee, Van Horn, moving away from the baseline, coming back to it. Gets free for a 3. That makes it a 7-point game. Mike Miller. First basket of the season for him. You know he's going to be our guy off the bench. But Mike gets caught there. Van Horn coming up. Buckner. Big 3 there. Gives Philly a 12-point lead. And at the half, it would be 10. So, a lot of work to do. And it was going to be tough. 56-46. Well, if nothing else, it's nice to see Orlando get some buckets against a clearly, pretty solid defensive team. So it's just, can you get something going on the defensive end? See Iverson, 9 of 21 in the first half, 20 points, 4 assists. Crazy stat, but I have to tell you. But I'll have to wait to the end of the video to tell you on this one. See Philly, a good third quarter. Up 15, Iverson. Catching Van Horn, who catches McKee, and back to Van Horn. Great ball movement. Philly starting to pull away. Up 18. Then up 20 off a turnover. Van Horn with the flush. So Philly plus 12 so far. And it wouldn't get better for Orlando. Aaron McKee going to work. Building that lead up 28-point lead. And then right in the face, Buckner, big three, pushes the lead to 31. Grant Hill just has to throw something up. Remember, it was a 10-point game at the half. Philly up 33, plus 23 in the third quarter. The worst part about it, Iverson had 1 point in the third quarter. Just one. He ended the game with 21, I'll just tell you right now. So without Iverson really getting anything going, it took one shot in the entirety of the second half. That's rough. So Orlando, we're just going to skip the fourth quarter. There's no need to show you that. Clearly, we lost. I don't think this is a surprise, given what happened. So at the end, 112-75. 29-point half for Orlando. So good offense in the first half for the most part. Very quiet second half. You can see the fans, a lot have already left. People starting to file out the last scragglers. As Philly makes Orlando 0-1 on the season. Bad news for Orlando's defense. 5 players for Philly hit double digits. 3 hit 20. And then you add Coleman with 16, McKee with 14. You see, overall, Orlando not hitting the 3 ball. Neither was Philly. But the big thing was points in the paints. Philly was able to get into the paint, backcourt, big men, doing whatever they needed to do. See McGrady, a little peek at the box score there. McGrady, slow start, 0 for 5, but he finished 10-24, 26 points, 5 rebounds for him. One of 2 players in double figures for Orlando. So as the title said, he was waiting for help from anyone, and he gave you a lot of points. Almost half the team's points. Grant Hill, 15 and 5. So 5 rebounds to go to 15 points. 5 of 12 for the field. Unfortunately, 6 turnovers. So Philly able to cause problems, but he was somewhat productive on offense. Speaking of offense, Allen Iverson. Clearly we know all the offensive highlights are first half, because all his points came in the first half. 20 points. 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Throwing a steal, very helpful. Buckner, he had a big game for Philly. 21 points, 6 assists, 2 of 3 from deep, 9 of 16 overall. That's not exactly someone that you're expecting to score a decent amount of points, but he gave you 21. Paced the Sixers in points. Not very often you'll see Allen Iverson not lead these guys in points. And speaking of points, the other guy with 20, Keith Van Horn, getting free from deep. He hit 2. He was 9 of 14 in this one. He also added 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and 1 block. So Keith Van Horn adding to the trouble for the Magic. If you can imagine, Orlando's going to have to find some points. 26, and then I said that T-Mac had almost half the team's points. What I meant was him and Hill combined for, half the points, 41. Some other guys are going to have to step up. Up next is Miami. That is a good defensive team as well. It will not be easy.